What is the one single most powerful indicator that you can use when trading altcoins? I personally think that is Bitcoin because that is the driver of this market. I trade a bunch of altcoins, but when it comes to looking at their setups, I will not ignore Bitcoin because it is the driver of this crypto market. When it pumps, you can expect the altcoins to follow, and very similar things will happen if Bitcoin dumps. We're also going to be talking about a few altcoin setups in this market, which will include Stellar Lumens, Aerodrome, and SUI, SUI. See what's going on in these markets later in this video. I will also be talking about what is the craziest move I am seeing in this markets today and why that could be a very good indicator of what is to come for Bitcoin and the altcoin markets. All right. Now, first things first, we're going to be taking a look into some news, some major crypto news. I'll give you guys my instant reaction before diving into the charts and give you guys my price target for some of these altcoins as well as their current setups. So you guys don't want to miss that. Let's go ahead and go to the first piece of Bitcoin crypto headline here. This is by Crypto News. This is Ethereum whales stage massive 2.5 billion accumulation, biggest since 2018. Will this trigger Ethereum breakout? What I'm seeing in Ethereum is that it's trying to get a solid candle close on top of the daily 200 SMA. It already had a couple of days ago before falling back down, but right now it is trying to get a solid hold above that moving average. If it gets a hold above that moving average, it's going to be looking very good for Ethereum. But if Bitcoin holds above its daily 200 SMA, which is by far, I don't see why the altcoins cannot catch up. Next, this is by The Block. Trump's Truth Social files with SEC for Bitcoin Ether ETF. That's definitely bullish for Bitcoin and Ethereum, just because it gets more inflows, right, for this ETF. For Bitcoin, for Ether, I think it's going to be good for the entire crypto markets, really. Next piece here is by Cointelegraph, how to use ChatGPT for crypto strategy, signals, and sentiment. Now, this is very good because ChatGPT is something new that we are using, that we have actually just been using for the past a couple years, maybe 1 or 2 years. I have gotten more familiar with it. I think it's very helpful in summarizing what we used to do in Google searches, right? That was a lot more time consuming. Even back in 2019, 2020, I was still using Google search to learn about technical analysis, to learn how to read the charts, to learn how to invest. That was a lot more time consuming because I would actually have to click on each link to find useful information and actually read through a lot of this stuff. Basically, kind of weeding out what's important and what's not. But now that you actually have ChatGPT at your disposal, you can actually ask a direct question and it will give you a very direct response summarizing what's already on the internet. So very helpful. You can actually try ChatGPT. Just ask, what is technical analysis? Start from there. Start from the top and then ask, what are some of these patterns you guys are hearing? It is a great way to learn. It greatly reduces the amount of time to search for information. So definitely recommend that you guys try this. Next piece here is by NewsBTC. Will the Bitcoin price move above 110K again? Global M2 money supply shows what's next. So just reacting to this headline here. 110K, I think that's definitely within the cards. You guys should know that I'm very bullish on this market until I tell you guys otherwise based on the charts, right? But right now, I'm still very bullish in the market. I am deeply into longs in a lot of altcoins, in Bitcoin, in Ethereum, in Litecoin. So that is just me personally, of course. That's just not financial advice. Definitely not. Do your own due diligence. But that's, I definitely see a breakout coming soon, and I'll show you guys why. Next one is by Coin Potato. Bitcoin price analysis, breakout or rejection next as Bitcoin nears upper range boundary. Now, yes, this is going to be interesting because even though I think Bitcoin is going to reach new all-time highs sometime very soon, I think probably the next month or two, right? We are still consolidating within a trading pattern where it could still get a rejection. I mean, this trading pattern, it could still run until early July, right? So there is still a possibility that there's going to be a rejection at the upper trend line of this pattern, which I will show you right now. But there's going to be a move soon, okay, very soon. Now, if you guys do want to read more news about crypto, about the markets, any markets really, I am actually pulling these news headlines from TradingView. And inside TradingView, you will find news, you will find charts, you would find other traders sharing ideas. I mainly use TradingView for charts and indicators. That's how I learn technical analysis. I highly recommend you guys check out TradingView if you guys want to be in this trading game for a long term. Just I've been using it for over 5+ years, and I would not recommend it if I'm not already using it on a daily basis. So I have an affiliate link in the description section below. You guys can check it out. If you guys sign up using my link below, it supports my channel. I will get a commission. All right, let's come back here and talk about some charts. ES1 exclamation mark. This is stock market futures for S&P 500. What I am seeing here is something really crazy because I talked about this pattern a lot last week, which is a rising wedge pattern, which usually breaks to the downside. It did. Okay, it broke to the downside, but the breakdown target was far, far below where the price action is now. It's about just right underneath 5,800 here. Okay, how the bears actually try to break down from this pattern here before it actually before the bulls bought it back up. As you guys can see, it got supported by that daily 21 SMA, and I would consider this pattern to be invalidated because price action right now is higher than the previous high of that rising wedge pattern. So let's take this away. Very important to be looking at this right now. But why is this important? Why is the S&P 500 futures important? Because it's highly correlated with Bitcoin. And of course, Bitcoin drives the crypto markets. There could be some bearish divergence scenario here coming up. But I mean, just in terms of that rising wedge, I am not really worried about that anymore. All right, let's go up. Let's go to the daily. The Bitcoin chart. The Bitcoin chart here. Okay. What I am talking about and what I am looking at is, first of all, if you guys are new to my channel, I'm going to just do a quick recap for you guys. Weekly time frame. Okay. Cup and handle pattern. Price target out of this pattern is going to be about just right above 145K here. We have held, this is the weekly time frame, okay? We have held above solid resistance, solid candle closes back in December 2024. That's about 104K, right? We have held above that level, and if we hold above, and we have a higher low on the weekly time frame, and if we hold above higher lows, the next logical move is a higher high. That is just how an uptrend works, okay? What I'm also seeing here on this daily time frame, if we zoom in, is a symmetrical triangle pattern which favors a breakout in the direction that precedes it. In this case, it would be going up, okay? It usually breaks out that way. Okay, of course, there's going to be a chance that it breaks down, and then we'll come back here and see what the chart could be doing. But nothing in this market is 100%, right? It's still a good idea, still a very good idea to get an idea of what the odds are. Okay, so I can plan for it, plan for what happens if this happens, and what I would do if the other way happens. Now, symmetrical triangle pattern, breakout of this thing is going to be about 122K. If it breaks out by this point, it's just an estimate, okay? Price targets are estimates only. It could be more, it could be less. Now, this symmetrical triangle pattern, if it was to run to the end of it, it would be about July, the first week of July, if you guys can see. So that's how I can at least get an estimate of the timing of a move, okay? It did touch the daily 50 SMA, however, for the first time, and when it touches a support for the first time, I would expect it to get a pretty good bounce. Now, let's come over here to Ethereum real quick, just real quick. It is still trying to break on top of that daily 200 SMA. That's immediate resistance right now. It's been up and down. It's been going through it quite some time, okay, as you guys can see. So I wouldn't expect this to be very strong resistance anymore. It's the resistance is currently about 2650. Okay, we're right at it. Very important to be paying attention to this for Ethereum holders, including myself. Now, let's go ahead and skip over to some altcoins, because I know you guys are here for the altcoins, but I keep the Bitcoin charts in the back of my head before looking at any altcoin setups. Let's come over here to Aerodrome. Okay, Aerodrome here, talked about this on this weekly time frame. Okay, weekly time frame. This is Aerodrome. Falling wedge pattern, very common pattern, a pattern you should definitely learn how to spot and train your eyes to spot, because that tells you after an extensive downtrend, this thing could be reversing soon. If it breaks out by this point, Aerodrome will get a price target of about $4.25. On the daily time frame, I am not seeing any particular patterns, but there are some signals to be paying attention to. There is a likely scenario that Aerodrome is going to be getting a reversal signal here, a dip signal. Okay, what I'm talking about here is the RSI. Bearish divergence, if we compare this higher high here with this high, right? However, you get an equal or lower high on the RSI. That's classic bearish divergence, which usually means that there's going to be a pullback. Now, I also pieced together resistance with that possible reversal signal, which will give me more confidence of that read, right? In this case, will be the daily 200, the orange line that's coming up at about 89 cents. Okay, that's a huge resistance, and this and Aerodrome hasn't retested this resistance for quite some time, especially after these moving averages crossed over the daily 200 SMA. So some type of pullback here is not surprising, right? All right, let's go over here. Let's go over here to Stellar Lumens and see what's going on in this market here. So last time we talked about Stellar Lumens, XLM, USD, and we've talked about this falling wedge pattern, like I've been mentioning. Price target out of this pattern, it's about 62 cents. Broke out of it. The breakout is still valid. Taking some time to play out. Daily time frame. It broke down from this rising wedge pattern. Now, rising wedge patterns work in the opposite of a falling wedge pattern. It usually breaks down, okay? And what this is that the price target of that rising wedge pattern breakdown was about 24 cents. Will it continue lower? I also talked about a descending triangle pattern here last time, if you guys were with me. and I invalidated that pattern because right here on this daily time frame, this move right here would have taken XLM back into that pattern with a solid candle close, and that invalidates that pattern. What I'm seeing here is a double bottom, right, which is usually a reversal pattern and usually breaks the upside. The neckline of this double bottom is about 28.5 cents. Price target, which is the measurement of the from the top of the double bottom to the bottom, and then you put that measurement back on top of the pattern, will give a price target of about just right underneath 32 cents. Okay, so that is what I'm seeing for XLM. There is bullish divergence coming with this double bottom as well, which gives me more confidence that this is going to be playing out. All right, let's go over here to SUI and see what's going on in this market. Okay, daily time frame, falling wedge. Like I said, this is a pattern you guys should not be missing. Price target still valid, about $3.87 SUI. And since it actually broke out of this pattern, it has came back to retest this pattern, which is below the breakout point, which is not uncommon to see for falling wedges, right? This is a double bottom as well, okay, but doesn't have that divergence signal, but that's fine. Let's take a measure move out of this double bottom here. That will give SUI a price target, a higher price target than the one that just, than the falling wedge breakouts. This will give SUI a price target of $4.30, just right above that. So that's basically what I'm seeing for some of these markets here. Of course, everything here is going to depend on Bitcoin, in my opinion. Now, this wraps it up for this video for me. If you guys want to see any technical analysis for any coins in this market, make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys want to learn technical analysis and see the charts a lot more clearly for yourself, I can get you guys up to speed. Just watch my videos every day. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment. I'll see you guys on the next one.